Good day, children. Today we move on to the next poem from the textbook Beehive on Killing a Tree by G.V. Patel. G.V. Patel is an Indian poet, playwright, painter, as well as a practicing physician. He belongs to a group of writers who have subscribed themselves to the green movement, which is involved in an effort to protect the environment. His poems speak of deep concerns for nature and expose man's cruelty to it. His works include poems How Do You Withstand, Body, and Mirrored Mirroring. He has also written 3 plays titled Princess, Shavaska, and Mr. Bayram. Now, this poem on killing a tree, here the poet is trying to sensitize the reader about and highlights the fact that trees are living things. So he equates trees with humans to convey that trees should not be cut because destroying a tree is equal to killing a human being. And a tree does not die by merely cutting because it regrows from where it is cut. If a tree has to be destroyed, then it should be uprooted. This is what he is trying to tell us through the poem on killing a tree. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So, he says that it will take a lot of time to kill a tree. Simply by jabbing it with a knife won't do it. Jab means it is a sudden rough blow. So just by simply cutting the tree is not going to destroy it. The tree will grow gradually because it is rooted in the soil. It has grown, slowly consuming the earth. So the plant is taking nutrition from the soil to grow into a big tree. Okay, that is why it says that it rises out of earth, it feeds upon the crust of earth, it absorbs years of sunlight, air and water. So the tree is firmly bound with the soil and it takes in sunlight, water and air to grow into a strong trunk and have numerous leaves. Leprous hide means discolored bark, the bark of the tree. Okay, so the poet here is telling us that with a simple cut you cannot kill a tree because it is rooted onto the earth. So hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. Miniature boughs which if unchecked will expand again to former size. So here he says hack and chop. Hack means cut roughly with striking heavy blows. So humans cut and chop the bark of trees into many pieces, but that is not sufficient enough to destroy a tree. The point of the tree which gets cut will give out sap. Okay, sap is that certain trees you will see that white colored liquid coming. Okay, which is almost similar to a human body bleeding. Okay, that is why it says the bleeding bark. The bleeding bark will heal. Bleeding here is the when human body it is a blood, for the tree it is a sap. Okay, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. So it will start growing again, it will regrow. Miniature boughs which if unchecked will expand again to former size. So miniature boughs are those the small branches and small bark of the tree will again come back to its original size. So gradually this wound would heal and from there new branches and leaves will start to grow again. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be roped, tied and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave and the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. So here the poet is saying that in order to kill the tree it has to be uprooted. Okay, the root has to be pulled out of the anchoring earth Anchoring earth here means that the trees are held securely with the help of roots in the earth. Okay, the roots are secure on the earth. That is a anchoring earth. And if it has to be killed, then you have to tie a rope. You have to separate the tree from the earth which supports it. So the roots of the tree bind the tree with the soil into the pit of the earth. So for that, what you have to do is you need to tie a rope, okay, and pull and snap it out. Snap out is chopped out. You have to chop it out, or you have to pull it entirely from the earth cave. That is the place from where the tree is planted. Okay, it has to be taken entirely from there, and the strength of the tree is exposed then. So the source, which is white and wet, that is, the roots are white in color and are damp, because it is always taking water from the soil, isn't it? So the roots can be seen to be white in color and damp or wet. Okay, and it is this most sensitive part of the tree which is hidden for years inside the earth. Okay, then the matter of scorching and choking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. Scorching and choking means drying up of the tree after it is uprooted. Okay, so next comes, once the tree is uprooted, what happens? What is the next thing that happens is it gradually starts to wither. It starts to dry up because of the action of heat and the wind, and the trunk will become brown, it will twist, it will harden, and finally in this manner the tree will die. And then it is done means the tree is dead, the tree has died. Okay, so here the poet is giving us the manner in which you will kill a tree. Just by cutting a bark or chopping the tree down will not kill the tree, rather there will be new growth out of it. There will be new leaves might come out of it, new stem might come out of it. Okay, new branches will come out of this chopped off part. But to entirely destroy a tree, you have to kill it from its roots. You have to take it out of its roots. You have to uproot the tree. Only then you can kill a tree. Okay, so this is how. And so the poet is telling us, by cutting or chopping down a tree, you are not actually killing a tree. You are only hurting the tree. The wound, the bleeding bark will heal and it will regrow. To kill a tree means you uproot a tree. So this is what the poet is trying to tell us, that, cutting trees. So he was part of the green movement, and he is telling us that, it is easy to chop down a tree, but when do you kill a tree? This is the manner in which you kill a tree. Okay, now let us look at the poetic devices used here. This poem is written in free verse, so therefore there is no rhyme scheme for this poem. Okay, so the first poetic device used is enjambment. So enjambment is when one sentence continues into two or more lines. So here if you see, the line 2 continues to till the end. If you see, the full stop comes in the end. Okay, so stanza 1 is actually enjambment. Then you have the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth, that is also enjambment. Okay, so these two are the examples of enjambment. Then comes metaphor. Okay, here leprous hide is metaphor. Okay, it is a metaphor for the uneven color on the surface of the tree trunk. Okay, it is compared to the skin of a person suffering from leprosy. Okay, if you have seen leprosy patients, you would have seen their skin is quite dry and it is quite unevenly colored. Okay, so the poet is comparing the tree trunk to the skin of a person suffering from leprosy. So a leprous hide is a metaphor. Then bleeding bark. Bleeding bark again is a metaphor here. The sap coming out of the tree where it is cut is compared to the bleeding from a human body, the wound on a human body. Okay, the bleeding from the wound on a human body. Okay, so the sap coming out of the tree is compared to the bleeding from the wound in a human body. Next is alliteration. Example is stanza 2, bleeding bark. Berber, alliteration. Then stanza 3, white and wet, W sound. White and wet, W sound. Next poetic device is repetition. Repetition comes on stanza 3, pulled out. If you notice, pulled out is repeated in stanza 3. Okay, so which means there's an emphasis on it. Okay, so these are the different poetic devices used in the poem. I hope you have understood this poem. Okay, thank you children.